Good afternoon and a warm welcome to you all. Welcome to this launch event for the fourth call of Innovative Actions. Today is a very important milestone. After much expectation, our fourth call is officially open. This call will offer cities across Europe great opportunities to turn innovative ideas into concrete projects. If your city is facing urban challenges, whether they are environmental, social, or economic, this call will be a great opportunity to find practical solutions to those challenges. My name is Catherine McCarran. I work here at the European Urban Initiative, and I will be your host for today. So let me guide you briefly through the topics that we will cover today. On the agenda, we'll start with a welcome and an introduction, and then we'll have a statement from the European Commission who will explain a bit the broader policy perspective of the Commission at the moment. We will then hear from the Région Hauts-de-France, who will explain a bit why this call matters for city. And then after the why, we'll go into the how. I'll be joined by colleagues from the European Urban Initiative to explain a bit more about the framework of Call 4. They will explain what are the key elements, what has changed compared to previous calls that we run with EUI, and they also explain what is the support available if you decide to apply. Today, our aim is simple. We want that you're able to understand what this call is going to be about, to be able to decide if this is something that is interesting for you, and if so, what are the next steps you can take if you want to apply. But before we start, we would like to know a bit more about you. So we're going to be using Slido, and I'll invite you to grab your phones and scan the QR code that is going to be displayed on your screen. If you want, you can also join via the browser, and to enter the event, the hashtag is EUI Call4. Very simple. There are a few questions that are already open, so you can have a look. We will also use the Q&A section if you want to ask some questions to our speakers. I have some of my colleagues who are here today, Romain and Alison, who are moderating the questions and will help me bring them to the attention of our guests. So, because there is a lot of people online today with us, which is great, don't hesitate to have a look at the questions that have already been asked. And if you're interested, give it a thumbs up. So it will help us navigate a bit what are the topics that you're the most interested in. So while you continue answering your Slido questions, we have a special message that we would like to share with you. We're very honored to share a message from Raffaele Fito, who is the Executive Vice President for Cohesion and Reform. He works at the European Commission, and in his role, he's here to ensure that EU investments supports growth, resilience, and development across regions in Europe. And for his work, cities are of the utmost importance. So let's listen to his message.
Dear mayors and city representatives, dear experts of urban development, the European Commission approved the EU Agenda for Cities on the 3rd of December. Our vision is clear: empowering every city and town in Europe to reach its full potential, including all communities. We want to support every city, no matter what its size, to thrive, to livable, prosperous and inclusive. The first actions of this agenda are already being rolled out, and this is the context of today's call for proposals. Today we launch the fourth and final call for innovative actions under the European Urban Initiative. Under this call, cities are invited to submit proposals aligned with the priorities of the EU Agenda for Cities. The call is for innovative ideas, ranging from competitiveness to digitalization, social inclusion, and to climate change. The local context of innovation is crucial, and Europe's cities are the key to this. Through this call, the EU aims to support cities in testing small-scale, local innovative solutions to pressing urban challenges. Support is for cities of all sizes across Europe, with a particular focus on small and medium-sized cities. Our commitment to cities is continuous. Urban challenges are complex, and this Commission is committed to strengthening the capacity of cities to design and deliver innovative responses. Moreover, within this call, there is an additional opportunity For the projects that meet the quality requirements, the midterm review of cohesion policy provides for sales of excellence. This quality label is an important new development, recognizing quality projects proposals and encouraging alternative sources of funding. So, as you can see, we are creating many new opportunities for cities. We recognize that cities are not just beneficiaries, they are key partners for the EU. Europe faces new challenges. Our cities are vital allies and essential drivers of our response. With the EU Agenda for Cities and with this call for proposals, we are equipping cities. Our goal is to give you the tools you need to get the job done. I invite towns and cities across Europe to make the most of this opportunity and continue their close engagement to meet our common goals. Thank you.
That's great. A very strong and encouraging message for the city to join this call for proposal. So now we understand a bit why this call matters, not only for individual cities, but also for Europe as a whole. But let's go back to the Slido. So we asked you a couple of questions and we can now have a look at the answers. So we asked you, the first question was, what type of city do you represent? I can see that we have a lot of medium-sized cities, about almost 40% of yourselves. But I can see also a lot of small cities that are joining today's call, which is really interesting because this call has specific features that will be very beneficial for you. Secondly, we asked you about how familiar you are with EU funding. And I can see that we have quite a mix of answers. A lot of you are actually quite familiar with it, so that's very interesting. But we also have newcomers, so hopefully this event will answer your questions and your needs. And in terms of what are the topics that you're most interested in, well, I think you're in the right place. You would like to have more information about Call 4, what are the topics that are eligible, and understanding the call as a whole. So that's good. You've come to the right place. So we've heard the Executive Vice President. We know a bit more who is in the room. Let's go a bit deeper in the policy context. It's my pleasure that we have with us today Kadri Oostal, who is from the European Commission and will explain a bit how Call 4 fits within the biggest EU policy framework. Kadri, you are the head of unit for cities, communities and people at DG Regio in the European Commission. So at the very start of our event, we had this message from the Executive Vice President who mentioned the city's agenda, who mentioned the broader European policy framework. So can you give us a bit more ideas of where does Call 4 fits within all this?
Thank you. And I'm super happy to be here today for the launch of the fourth call.
Thanks.
The cities agenda of the European Commission was adopted in December. Mm-hmm. And the fourth call is actually aligned and fits with it perfectly because we have aligned the topics of the call with the policy scope of the cities agenda. So this means that all the topics that are important for cities, and you can see them here on the screen, all the 6 titles, and I must say they are quite wide. Mm-hmm. All of the 6 policy areas of the agenda are reflected in this call. And I hope very much that all cities who are interested in applying will find that their idea fits under one of these 6 headings. So in that sense, the fourth call will be a great addition to the cities agenda that was adopted by the Commission, and it will take forward the work on urban development that Commission very much supports, and now in the form of hopefully many, many innovative projects from also smaller cities, which we can then later on multiply into the next generation of urban development.
Yes, indeed. There are six topics, and as you mentioned, they're very broad. So they cover probably most of the challenges that cities are currently facing. Can you let us know a bit more about those topics and maybe how they were selected?
So last year, when we were preparing the cities agenda, we did a Eurobarometer survey to find out what is most important for people living in cities and urban areas of all sizes, and what are the most urgent issues that need to be addressed. We also had a call for evidence where we collected from cities and city organizations their analysis, their inputs about what is important today in cities. And we also had many seminars, meetings, bilateral contacts with many cities all throughout the year last year. And these encounters and the analysis of all the inputs that we received kind of crystallized for us the scope of the issues, which we see is extremely wide, and cities need to deal with everything all at once. And they are reflected in these 6 titles. That's why it's so comprehensive and wide, because cities are really the front line of public services, of making improvements in people's lives. So they are dealing with all of these issues every day in parallel, so not having the luxury of going one by one, and they need to balance their budgets, their investments, their activities between these areas. So we've heard as feedback that these 6 areas really cover and correspond to most of the areas that are important in cities and urban areas. And just to be clear, when I talk about cities, it's just a simplification. We mean all urban areas. We mean the big cities, we mean the smaller towns. They're all covered by the cities agenda.
Yeah, I like what you said about cities trying to answer so many challenges, and they have to deal with so many issues, that it is important that this call was as wide as possible to really make sure it fits their needs. And it actually links quite nicely with one of the questions that we have received several times in the Slido. Is it possible that a project is submitted that would cover several of those topics, and or do they have to choose and maybe focus on one topic more than the others? How would it work for a city?
Well, I think it's logical that, well, when you look at these topics and the descriptions, and I do encourage before writing your project application to look carefully through the guidance and the description of these topics. But I think it's entirely logical that these topics are not silos. They are not kind of disconnected from each other. It's actually the other way around. They're all very much connected. For example, you can't talk about housing without talking about social inclusion. It's impossible to talk about competitiveness without talking about digitalization. So very much, smart solutions are very often digital, and they can be from various areas such as clean urban mobility, safety of public spaces. So I see a lot of interconnections between these policy fields, and I expect that to show up also in the project applications.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe another question that we had in the Slido. We see and we do communicate a lot about welcoming small cities in our call. So someone is asking, can a big city be eligible, and is it still interesting for us to come and apply for this call?
I think that's a more a question to Agnieszka, but it's clear we are hoping that smaller cities that haven't had a chance before, that they would come and apply. And the bigger cities need to consider the parameters, that these are relatively smaller projects in terms of both financial volume and timing. But I don't think we have an exclusion criteria for also bigger ones if they want to come back.
No, yeah, indeed. All cities are welcome to apply. It's true that we have this emphasis on having newcomers, but all cities are very much welcome to apply. Thank you very much, Kadri. Thank you for your time for joining our event, and I'll let you go back to your meetings. And thank you so much for joining. So we are very happy that last week we had the opportunity to go to the Région Hauts-de-France, and we were able to meet with Anne Wetzel, who shared with us why this call matters for cities. So maybe we can listen to her message and then we'll take it over from there.
Hello, I'm Anne Wetzel. I'm a Director for European Affairs at the Hauts-de-France region in the north of France, and we are managing this European Urban Initiative with the Commission. What do we expect from Call 4? But a lot of interest from all around Europe to take this, I think, great opportunity to test new possibilities for cities. I think it's about, in this fourth call, about different possibilities for medium-sized and smaller cities. There must be 25,000 inhabitants minimum, but then there's a lot of space for also newcomers to test things, to bring their projects in and their ideas. We have the new framework with bonus points for medium and smaller cities. So smaller sized and medium cities below 50,000 inhabitants have bonus points, and also cities in regions which are in transition or less developed regions have also bonus points. It's also about innovation, which is appreciated on a local level. So it's not about the most important, but it's about local innovation. Locally innovative means that you appreciate the innovation in the local context. It's not about the idea that has never been experienced before in Europe. It's more in your local urban context to see if you have new practices, new methods to experience. And so I think it's more concrete. It's perhaps also more possible for a lot of cities to come to this fourth call and to try to perhaps see what others experience elsewhere and to try it in your place. Or you come with your own ideas and your own local proposal and try this innovation. The objectives of this fourth calls are to have the possibility to experiment new things, have the time and the space for the cities to experience, to be also have help to do so, and perhaps to develop a culture of innovation. This is possible through this fourth call. Innovation is important for cities because they are the key players of all the changes going ahead. If you think about climate adaptation, if you think about social, economic changes, if you think about green or digital transition, the cities are in the forefront of all these changes, and they are also the closest to the citizens. So they must find the solutions, and they must experience new things and try to develop new capacities and new ways of adapting to our new challenges. So cities are really important, and we hope that they will then all have interest in this fourth call and try to experience with us new ways and solutions, and I think there will be a lot of help for them in this context. I think it's really the best place to test, to come, and I think you should not hesitate. Sometimes you don't know if it's me, can I apply, have a really good ideas. I think you have them, so come ahead. Don't be shy and experience with us in this fourth call new ideas.
So, just to recap, some very important points were communicated in this message. The first one, now smaller cities are eligible. We used to have eligibility criteria set at 50,000 inhabitants, but now cities with a minimum threshold of 25,000 inhabitants are eligible to apply for Call 4. The second very important message that we heard was the introduction of bonus points. So we've said that smaller cities and cities coming from less developed and in transition regions are strongly encouraged to apply. And for this, they will be rewarded bonus points. And finally, the last change that is quite important to know is that this call focuses on local innovation. So These are concrete features that will hopefully help to open this call to more cities. So we understand a bit why this call matters, why it's important with regards to the EU overall policy agenda. We understand a bit what has changed, but let's move into the more practical questions. For this, I will be joined in the studio by my colleague Agnieszka Siłysek. So much for joining us. You're the head of unit for the project. You're the head of the project unit who is responsible for the design and implementation of this call. So what can you tell us the cities should know at this stage?
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you for the introduction and welcome everyone. Our colleagues backstage told us that there is quite a nice large group today with us, so I'm really happy about that. And indeed, Kathleen explained to you at the very, very start of this meeting that we will try to tell you today about two aspects: why and what, how. And I will have a pleasure now to tell you a bit more about what and how. So I will take the next several minutes to tell you about key things that you need to know about Call 4. And in general, I will try to briefly present to you a framework of this call. So let's first go back to who can apply. Anne Wetzel from the entrusted entity. We just heard her introductory video. She already explained a bit who are the eligible applicants, but let's look at this a bit closer now. So first of all, for us, only urban authorities can become our beneficiaries. That's very important. In a moment, I will tell you a bit more about partnerships, but lead partners, applicants, as we call them, main urban authorities, only cities, towns, urban authorities can apply. Moreover, urban authorities which are above 25,000 inhabitants, that's our threshold, or group of urban authorities applying together to reach this minimum number of inhabitants. The call is open to all cities. However, we particularly encourage applications from smaller, from medium-sized cities, and also maybe cities with limited experience with EU funds. Cities that are dynamic, that are eager to experiment with new solutions, but maybe they have a bit less of an experience in the field of innovation. It's very important, and this restriction is quite important to mention now. This call is open to main urban authorities, or as we call them, associated urban authorities, so the one joining lead partners that are not already funded under Call 1, 2, and 3. So if you're joining us representing an urban authority that already has a innovative action project, unfortunately, you will not be able to apply. What I would also like to mention is that transfer partners of our EUI Call 1, 2, or 3 are eligible and can apply. I'm sure that there are some transfer partners joining us today, so it's an important message to you. Now, let's look at our urban innovation requirements. Those of you who are a bit more familiar with our initiative, and Kathleen just explained to us what are the results of little Slido surveys. So we know that we have some of you today with us who are a bit more familiar with our initiative. So you might know that Innovative Actions pillar of the European Urban Initiative actually exists to finance support urban innovations. And we very frequently receive questions, okay, but what does it mean exactly? How do you define urban innovation? What does it mean? So let's look into this, especially that how we define urban innovation changed a bit comparing to approach that we followed for Call 1, 2, and 3. So first of all, with this call, we are looking for urban solutions, ways of working, if you like, that are new, that are bold, that are creative, and that are experimental in the local context. Secondly, innovative means that your solution, your project proposal must go beyond local practice, so beyond current way of working. And through that, we need to see in your project proposal a clear advancement over current practice. So this solution that you're proposing must lead to significant improvement over what your city is currently doing. In this sense, it's very important for us that we see that the solution you're proposing is genuine and is having this transformative potential. So it's not only about the project here and now, it's also about long-term planning and how this project can allow you for a more permanent change in some internal practices or policies, if successful, of course. We are experimenting here. And finally, we really broadly define innovation. It's not only about technological gadget, or I would even say it's definitely, in many cases, not about technological gadgets. It's about products, services, processes. So from this perspective, our definition is quite broad. And now, very important point of attention, especially for the ones who followed our framework that we used so far, because that's the key change. So this particular call will welcome both solutions that are entirely new at the EU level, but also solutions that might have been already tested elsewhere, fully or partially, but have not yet been adopted locally, so we follow a context-specific approach. Hopefully that clarified a bit the aspect around innovation. And I would like now to look together with you into key features of a successful project proposal. There are several of them, and I think it's important to understand them. So first of all, respond to local challenge. What does it mean? We are looking for project proposals that really respond to real local challenge, meaning they are place-based. We are looking for proposals that are implemented by a project with a partners, so by a project partnership, and that are participative. Why? Because in the European Urban Initiative, we truly believe that you cannot really implement an innovative solution alone. You need your partners around the table. You might need a local university, NGOs, business, industry, experts. You really need to work together. So we welcome proposals that are proposed, developed by partnership, and also that follow participative approach, so that your local community and your stakeholders are important. We are looking for proposals that lead to a more effective way of addressing urban challenges. So as I mentioned before, it's not experimenting for the sake of experimenting. We are really looking for genuine approach and genuine need for change. Sustainable and scalable, what does it mean? It means that we are looking for solutions, for proposals that are sustainable in a long-term run, so that once the funding given by our initiative to you is over, this solution will continue, will stay durable. And at the same time, that there is an interest, genuine interest, and certain plan in place how to scale it up, of course, if proven successful. We're looking for proposals that strengthen internal innovation capacity. So proposals that will also help your city to transform, and that you will treat it as an opportunity for also institutional change and certain capacity building, if you like. And finally, something that is very important to us, so doesn't matter that it's the last bullet point on my slide, it's probably could have been the first one, city ownership. So our project proposals, we are looking for proposals developed by cities which play a central role in shaping and implementing the solution, in managing the partnership, in making sure that the solution is really responding to local needs and the needs of the local population. Let's now look into financial framework and project duration, because I'm sure that also financial aspects are really important. So as you probably already know very well from our webpage, a maximum budget that we offer per project is 2 million euro ERDF. And the total budget allocation that we have for this call is around 60 million ERDF. That is subject to budget availability. So you can probably very quickly do the math that we are looking to finance around 30 projects. Maximum 2 years of implementation. What does it mean? That also we are looking for projects that are quite ready to implement, especially projects with a strong investment component. Please make sure that you make a realistic assessment whether you will be able to complete the investment in 24 months. ERDF co-financing rate is 80%. And since we are an ERDF instrument, of course, investments are eligible, are welcomed, are encouraged. Something quite, I believe, interesting for urban authorities is that we follow the logic of advance payments and also simplified costs option. That means that our lead partners, main urban authorities, receive 50% advance payment at the very start, upon validation of what we call initiation phase. We don't have enough time today to explain all these details, but I also would like to invite you to look into our guidance document and read a bit more about it. Then we follow with the second advance payment, 30% upon validation of your first financial claim. So first bunch of costs submitted to us and validated. And in fact, only 20% follows the logic of a reimbursement of costs paid after the validation of the second financial claim. We also put together a set of simplified cost options consisting lump sums and a standard scale of unit cost, which we strongly believe that that makes financial reporting and budgeting a lot easier for you. And finally, we have flexibility in the forms of project partners' contribution. 20% of own contribution is required, but it can take an in-kind or cash form, and also every partner in the partnership can decide on their own. Let's look now into what cities must demonstrate, and here I will try to give you some practical tips. So on this slide, on my next slide, if we can go to my next slide, almost at the very beginning of the application form, we will ask you several questions. And we will have several webinars following this event, and we will go deeper into the topic and we will dive into the details. But let me quickly walk you through this question and explain what is the logic here. So very first question, very first content-related question that you will see in the application form is, what is the main challenge to be addressed by your project? We want to see a well-defined urban challenge, very precise, very concrete, also backed with some evidence, data, so we really understand what is the challenge that you're trying to address here. Second question that will follow is, what is the current way of working in your city in addressing this challenge? So we want to really precisely understand what is your current practice, but also what are its shortcomings and why actually do you have a need for change? Why? Because the next question that follows is, what is the proposed innovative solution? So how are you planning to change this current way of working? And of course, here we are, first of all, interested in solutions that are bold, that are innovative for you, and that are correctly responding to identified challenge and clearly improving current way of working. We also will ask you a question, what would you like to achieve by implementing the innovative solution? So we want to understand what kind of change you're actually expecting. And finally, we are curious to hear from you or to see in your application form, where does your inspiration come from? So what is your source of inspiration? Is it a well-working solution in another country? Is it an inspiration coming from academia? Maybe it's something that you developed together, co-created with your local stakeholders. And finally, my last slide will show you how we would like you to build your logical, coherent work plan. Again, we will have many more opportunities to discuss it a bit more in detail, but we definitely are looking for project proposals built in a way that there is one clear overall objective that represents the high-level ambition, what your city ultimately wants to achieve through this proposal, through this innovation. This overall objective should be followed by 3 specific objectives that you should define. They represent key dimensions of your innovative solution. And then your work plan will follow. So all activities, and those of you who are maybe more familiar with the EU jargon, we use this term work packages, but you can simply call them pillars of your project proposals. So then we would like to see a logical set of activities that clearly respond to the objectives and allow you to meet the objectives. We would like to see these activities leading to tangible outputs. So what will be actually delivered by your project? And finally, we would like to see expected results that you present to us in a measurable way. So we really understand what you would like to achieve here. And that was the Call for framework in a nutshell. So let me stop here, and I believe we might have some questions.
Yes, let's have a look at the couple of questions we've received on Slido. But maybe one question to start. All this information can be found in the guidance. Is there one guidance for the whole of EUI, or should we check any specific guidance for Call for?
Thank you. That's a great question. And actually, it's very important to emphasize that. Please make sure that you read the correct guidance document, because indeed we developed a specific document only for this call, which is tailored for the framework of Call for. So yes, and you will find it, of course, on our webpage together with some other documents.
One of the questions that we have in the Slido is about how many proposals can a city submit in Call for?
Great question. Thank you very much. One proposal per city, one proposal per urban authority. Mm-hmm.
Another question we had is if the project have to be local or transnational when applying.
Also very good question, and thank you so much for this question. The logic that EUI follows is actually around fostering local innovation ecosystems. So we are looking to really support locally developed projects. That, of course, doesn't mean that you cannot have a partner located in another country. I can easily imagine a situation that there is a university in another country with a faculty specialized in the solution that you're working on. You can absolutely invite this university as a partner. But we are not transnational cooperation programs. So in this sense, we are looking into receiving projects that are locally developed.
One that comes back quite a lot as well is about eligibility criteria. So we have questions about, are inter-municipal communities eligible, metropolitan areas, or even regions eligible? What should we recommend them?
I think my recommendation will be as follows. First of all, have a look into our guidance documents because there is a chapter explaining everything around eligibility, and I would first of all invite you to look there. And then if you have any doubts, you can contact us, of course, via email address, or you can also reach out to urban contact points. In each EU member state, we have a contact point that can support you and guide you a bit and help you better understand our eligibility criteria.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can take one last question.
Absolutely.
Which is about, is a feasibility study eligible, and how developed should be a proposal when applying in terms of, is it possible to start your feasibility study in the project and then kind of further decide along the way?
Thank you for the question. So in print, there is a short answer and there is a long answer. So let me try to find a middle ground, also being mindful about the time that we have. Short answer will be yes, feasibility studies are eligible. However, our program finances real pilot proposals, meaning that we are not looking into financing theoretical concepts or preparatory stages. We really want you to test something on the ground. So yes, you can have a feasibility study, but that must be followed by real, work on the ground. And moreover, let me go back to something that I mentioned before, that please remember that implementation time is only 2 years. So make sure that you have enough time to actually complete the project. So from our perspective, we don't need you to submit to the application form your construction permit or all the documents. However, you need to be realistic, and it also will be part of the assessment that we will do during the process of selecting the applications to make sure that what you're proposing is actually feasible and realistic.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Agnieszka, and thank you so much for the question that we're receiving. Keep sending them on. It's always interesting to see what actually matters for you. It's very interesting for us. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Hi. So, Tim, you're the director of the Permanent Secretariat of the European Urban Initiative. What were your thoughts on today's discussion about Call 4, about this big cities agenda?
Yeah, I think it was a very interesting discussion. Nice to see you again. We're launching another call. It's been a while, I think, now. It's a couple of years, or at least a year anyway.
I think there was much expectations around this call.
Yeah, and also for small and medium-sized cities, who are very important. We have actually a reputation for supporting perhaps larger cities, but it's not necessarily the case. I think over 70% of our applications, but also our projects are already to small and medium-sized cities. But this is really targeted, I suppose, to helping those that haven't actually applied before. New cities, different types of cities, those that haven't been able to reach the level in terms of population as well, the 25,000 inhabitants, we've reduced that. So really trying to target newcomers, different types of cities who haven't had that opportunity previously. So yes, I think we've had over 1,000 registrations as well. So it looks like a lot of interest. I think for you perhaps it's a bit daunting in terms of all the evaluations that you might have to do. But for the initiative, for EUI, for the Commission, but also for the wider EU, it's very, very successful, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it's a very good sign, very encouraging sign. And exactly, how would you encourage a city who is maybe hesitating to apply? What would you tell them?
It's a bit like innovation, I think. If you don't try, you don't succeed, do you? If you don't innovate, then how do you progress? And I think this is a really important step for cities, for regions, for different member states, but also for the EU as a whole to actually progress and get somewhere. You need to try and you need to innovate. We also have help at hand, so don't hesitate to contact us, but also the UCP, so our contact points that we have placed across the member states. Please contact them. They'll be doing different events. We'll be doing different events as well. So really make use of us, make use of our guidance, make use of our support to ensure that the cities are in the best possible place to actually deliver.
Yes, indeed. And maybe we can have a look at the applicant support activities that we will offer. So throughout the next couple of weeks, we're going to develop a lot of online support. So you have them on your screen appearing at the moment. So we will have a series of online webinars. They will be divided per topics. So you have the list and the titles of each webinar that is currently appearing. To make it easy, we decided it would be every Thursday from 10:30 to 12. So we'll have this during the month of March. And then in April and May, we'll move to a different format. We will have online Q&As. These Q&As will last 1 hour, and you will be able to join and ask any question you want around any topic to project officers from the Secretariat. Again, we've kept the same date. Every Thursday morning, you can meet with us every second week in April, May, and beginning of June. Tim mentioned we also have urban contact points, so don't hesitate to reach out to them. They are able to support you in your national language, and they are currently very busy organizing national events, either online or in person. It really depends from member states, so check the information that we have online. And finally, we are soon going to launch what we call one-to-one consultations. So you will be able to book in a 30-minute time slot with colleagues from the Secretariat to receive tailored support on your proposal. You can access everything with the little QR code that is on the screen, or you can also go directly to the website. There is a tab looking for funding. So that's just a little parenthesis of all the great things that we're trying to do indeed to make sure we help applicants during the next couple of weeks. But I mean, let's say there is someone in the audience who's like, yeah, I think Call 4 is for me. I think this is something I could work in, I could work with. What should be the next step for them?
We'll start looking already at our website. We've got all the information that need to actually apply now on our website. We launched the call today. A newsletter has been sent out as well. I saw this this lunchtime, so it's good to have the communication going out as well. But for cities, start looking or start thinking really about what your issues are and what perhaps innovation is in your context. Agnieszka said previously as well, it is still innovative actions, so we're still looking for innovation. It's not just a common project that you can do locally, that's happened locally previously. Really, we're still looking at good scale innovation. Smaller project, perhaps to a smaller time frame as well, but they're meant to be innovative in your local context particularly. So look at the different projects perhaps that you might have thought about previously, but there's not, the funding streams haven't been actually there for you to take a risk that we're still trying to push in terms of taking the risk, looking at failure, etc., etc. We are evolving. You've heard about the evolving nature of what we're doing, but we're still at the core innovation and at the core of what we were doing previously as well, and we've supported quite a lot of projects on that. So perhaps take a look at the projects we've already supported to get some inspiration, and start looking at your partners as well. We're not as perhaps a high level in terms of what we wanted previously with quadruple helix, even five different types of partners previously as well, but we have to work with partners. We have to, it's the nature of now how urban development is working. So look at who will support you in delivering your projects to make sure that they're actually delivered appropriately and to the best to the citizens that you support as well. So there we go. We've got the activities now, other activities up and running as well.
Yep.
At EUI, we've got capacity building, we've got the Cities Forum that we've had 27 applications for, two just yesterday. So we're kind of driving ahead in terms of what we're doing. If this isn't for you, and you find out that innovation is not necessarily where you want to go just yet, or it's not the stage of what you want to do now, have a look at the other activities. As I said, capacity building, we've got the events, we've got peer learning, we've got city-to-city exchange, we've got knowledge activities, urban agenda activities too. So, as I said, if you don't find yourself in here, you can look elsewhere as well from what we're doing too.
Yes, indeed. And you mentioned capacity building, and they are also having a call open soon, so something to check out if you realize that maybe Call 4 is not yet for you. But yeah, a lot of things that we're doing at the moment. We're very busy. Let's have a look maybe at the Slido to see what are the answers you provided us. So we asked you some questions about what is the likelihood you think you will apply for Call 4? And okay, a lot of people are very likely, 45% of our audience is likely to apply for Call 4. That's interesting. The next question we had was about under which topics you think you will apply. And we can see that a lot of people are very motivated for climate action, environmental and clean energy. I think this is a very important challenge for cities at the moment. Social inclusion and inequalities as well. Okay. And some people say they don't know yet, which is totally fine. You've heard from Kadri from the Commission. It is also possible that you address several topics within one proposal. So you also have time to decide which of those topics is actually the best fit for your project. I know that in the Slido we also had a lot of questions about, is health eligible under this call? Is food eligible? These are very detailed questions, and we don't want to go too much in details on the topics, but we really encourage you to read the terms of reference. There is a paragraph for each of these topics that will give you more insights about what is expected. So maybe you will find references to health or food under specific topics. So really read the terms of reference before working on your project. And then our last question was also for us to know how to best prepare our next applicant seminars. Where would you think our support would be the most valuable for you? Financing, I think financing is always a topic where finance is very important, because it's important and it's also not always easy to understand. How to write a proposal, how to identify the right topic, on-the-ground action networking, initiation phase. So a lot of things that will feed in our support activities in the future. So that's very, very interesting. Great. Well, thank you to all our speakers. Thank you, Tim, for joining us today. And we're now basically coming to the end of our events. So maybe we can briefly recap what the key message were that were shared today. We started by this message from the European Commission, who explained how cities are really central to the current policy agenda of the European Commission. And this is why we have this call for, which is part of this bigger policy agenda. We talked about the 6 topics that will be open for our call, and they are very broad, as we said. Kadri mentioned that they were defined based on the needs of the cities, asking cities what is it that you are facing, what are the challenges you're facing, and how can we adapt our call to your needs. So we have 6 topics, they're very open. Hopefully your solution, your project ideas will fit and will find a place in one of those 6 topics. We talked also about the overall design of the call. So we said the call is open to all cities, but it has specific features to make it accessible as many cities as possible. These include a lower eligibility threshold for cities that is now 25,000 inhabitants. We have a new definition of innovation that now focuses on context-specific innovation, on local innovation. How does it make sense in your local context? And we have mentioned we will now include bonus points. So those bonus points will be for cities between 25 to 50,000 inhabitants, and for cities that are located in regions that are considered as in transition or less developed. All these data will be based on Eurostat statistics. Key information, we mentioned this, call for open today and will close on the 15th of June at precisely 2 o'clock. And we also mentioned all the support activities that we have. You can already have a look on our website and register for next events. The next one is actually already next week on the 5th of March, so don't hesitate to register to have all the information needed. So Tim mentioned, if you have an idea, start early, reach out to your colleagues in other municipal departments, but also reach out to your local ecosystem, because your project has to come together with a partnership, a local partnership. If you have any questions, the Secretariat is here to help you, but also the Urban Contact Point, they can help you in your national language. So they're a very good source of support, so don't hesitate to ask them. So innovation starts often with a very simple step, and we really hope that this call for will be this step for you. Thank you very much for joining this online event, and we really look forward to receiving your project proposals. Thank you.